The best part about my week. Recording True Gamer Plus. Mainly because it's without Sheps. I'm sure it's the highlight of your week as well. Just saying, he's an anchor that's holding down Conbrosations. What's happening, everybody, and welcome to the world premiere of episode 3 of True Gamer Plus, your supplemental podcast to the True Gamer podcast, here exclusively on patreon.com/Conbrosations, where you guys are listening to it right now, so I don't need to tell most of you guys. Do want to say thank you to all of the brand new people that are around, though, because we have had a new few patrons and whatnot. Thank you for joining the patronage, the ship that we're onto this journey to become YouTube stars and buy Lamborghinis and stuff like that, and hookers and blow. But we'll get the Lamborghinis first, and then promise we'll do that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We had a nice few lads join, and we've crossed over 50 patrons now, 52 patrons. You guys are all so awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're back here again, guys, for another episode of True Gamer Plus. This episode has a lot of good topics from people who have written in. I just want to say thank you off the top for all of you guys who have written in there. And it's going to have one core topic that sort of came in last minute-ish. I didn't want to nail down a topic because I didn't feel too passionately about any of them until this one came out, which is, of course, about what you guys seen in the title, Halo Infinite delaying the co-op campaign mode and Forge until an unknown date. It won't be launching with the main game whenever that is in holiday 2021, because we still don't have a release date for it. Before I jump into everything, I do want to give... first of all, before we get into anything, before we get into any of the gamer talk, we have to thank a special group of people. The super bros of Conbrosations, the people that keep the lights and mics on and pretty much everything going here at Conbrosations. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do even a tenth of the stuff that we do here. And those people are Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsol, Carol to Riviere, aka Catsbud the Friendly Patron, Record Friction, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Martin Scorsese's Master H. Barts 12, the super sus Ben Fryer, who's a terrible defective clone of Eddie. He's just the worst. You see me, and then if you think the worst stuff, a bit like, have you seen the movie Junior with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito? He's very much Danny DeVito. I'm the specimen, and then he's just like the crap left over. Anyway, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunling, the Filthy FIFA Fanatic, Joe McCormack, my juicy left nut, the super sexy producer Sean, and Kevin, the number one simp of Halo Infinite. That's right, guys. Thank you so much for keeping the lights and mics on. You guys are so awesome. Thank you, Super Bros. We're eternally grateful. Yeah, so, guys, we're going to be talking a lot about some gaming here. The topic of the show, as I mentioned just before, is Halo Infinite and all of the delays of those modes that apparently are quite crucial. I'm going to say off of the bat, I have not played any of the Halo games before. I know how influential Halo is. I've always respected it for what it is. Obviously, Master Chief looks like a really cool character. His design looks really awesome. So I can see why everyone's like, oh, Master Chief, yeah, he looks so cool. And when people make, when you see like PC cases or something like that, or an Xbox designed on like Master Chief's armor, it always looks really awesome. I've understood it. I've never said a bad word about Halo because it looks so cool and I haven't experienced it. And I wrote yesterday, I should say, on Twitter, when the news came out about the Forge mode, which is a custom map creator thing, in case you don't know, and campaign co-op being delayed. When I saw that news pop, I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. But, I was looking forward to playing the actual main story anyway, solo. And the multiplayer is going to still come out as well, which is obviously a huge part of Halo. Everybody knows about Halo multiplayer. So I was like, this isn't that big of a deal for me. Is it like a big deal for you guys? A lot of people quickly brought it to my attention that this is a massive deal. I did ask on Twitter afterwards in a poll to see how big of a deal it was for how many people. Twitter's one of those places that's very like up and down, like depending on who sees the tweet, you get that response, and also you can't really tell what people's intentions are behind those tweets, whether or not they're trying to defend something out of some stupid fanboyism or something like that. So we got, but I'll tell you the results regardless, and you can make whatever you want from that. Just pop those up just here. Yeah, so it was a very quick poll. It was only like 2 hours long because I was going to record this show. As it stands right now, 48% of people say they don't actually care that it's being delayed. They're completely fine with that. 30.1% of people think that it's a massive deal, and then the rest think that it's a bit of a deal. So a fair amount of people, at least in this like 60-odd people, 70-odd people poll in 2 hours, that think that there is a bit of an issue here. And online, I'm seeing a lot of talk about how this is actually really bad for a lot of... How do I explain it? There are some people that I know of on Twitter, on YouTube, on podcasters that I listen to and stuff like that, who have expressed their opinions, and I know that they're either really, really hardcore Halo fans, or they're really, really hardcore Xbox fans. Not to the extent that they're fanboys, because those people, their voices and opinions really, really don't matter. They're just stupid people just arguing over some plastic rather than having a nice discussion and talking about pros and cons and stuff, things like that. And they seem to be quite bummed out about it. They're saying like it's really not good of Microsoft to be releasing an incomplete product, especially some features that are quite core, at least to the fans, quite core to the name of Halo. I've spoken to a bunch of people since my tweet, and people have educated me on exactly the gravity of the situation to tell like what's going on at gravity, because it's in space, Halo, and there's one shot of Master Chief when he falls down and jumps from space into Earth. It doesn't have no damage. Anyway, enough about that. And apparently it's a big deal. It's really tough. It's really tough to explain and really to get it fully, because obviously I haven't played the games to know if it would be something that's really important or if this is much to do about nothing. But people seem to be quite pissed. One of the reasons why they seem to be quite pissed is that because this game has had, rumored to be anyways, it was never confirmed, nearly $500 million of funding put into it to get the game going. At one point, it was so far off track in terms of the story and in terms of the way that it looked. You guys know about the last time it was revealed. Was it E3 2020 maybe, or 2019 perhaps? One of those ones. It was so far off of the way it should look and so far off of the story that they overhauled it completely, taking the creative lead off of it and replacing it with, is it Joe Staten, I think his name is. Apparently he played on previous, was a creative lead on previous Halos, which were very good. And we've long had this conversation that this game, this Halo, needs to absolutely smack for Xbox and for Microsoft, really, because personally, this is just my viewpoint, and you guys can let me know in the comment section on Patreon and stuff like that. And I've said this before on the True Gamer podcast, that there hasn't really been anything released on Xbox that's of consequence for the entire last generation. There's odd games here and there that are really cool, but nothing has set the world on fire. Nothing has really gone, oh man, we need to talk about this non-stop. Or like how everybody brings up the comparison of God of War or The Witcher or Red Dead when they want to compare anything to anything. Just the other day, I think it was Mario, one of our good bros. He's a bastard, but you know, let's just he don't tell him that. He brought up Red Dead as a comparison in terms of development time for this game, because this game has been in development for like 6+ years now. There is nothing on Xbox that warrants anyone to even bring up. Like, no one says but it's nothing compared to like, Forza Horizon, right? No one says, oh, it's like Gears of War, right? No one says, oh, it's like Crackdown 3, right? Because, in my opinion, there's not really been anything of consequence. Now, it's very easy for you guys to say, maybe that's just my bias playing through. I feel like if you guys are here on Patreon, you guys kind of know that I'm just here to make good discussion. I really, really enjoy talking about video games. In fact, today I had an amazing conversation with Josh Anderson on Twitter. He's one of the editors for the 4Pillar, but he's a really good friend and whatnot. I love the discussion of video games as well as playing them. There's just everything about gaming is just so cool. So I don't care where they come from. There are going to be some people out there that can very easily say, I'm biased and I'm a Sony pony, I'm fucking wearing a PlayStation t-shirt and stuff like that. And they can say easily, that's that. But it's not the case. It's not the case. I may sometimes play into the joke. Yeah, recently I do love to poke fun at some kids, There was, when, was it Outriders? Outriders apparently hasn't turned a profit just yet. At least that's what the creative lead on Outriders said. He's like, I can only deduce that we haven't turned a profit because Square Enix hasn't paid us any royalties yet. And the contract is that once they fully pay the production money, then all the profit would go to them. And they haven't received a dime, so he assumes there's no profit been made. And I was like, because that game came out on Game Pass day one, I'm in the comment section. I'm like, but Game Pass is the savior of all gaming, just to really, really poke fun. And it did exactly that. Every idiot, every fanboy just came along. It was the best. If anything, if you ever want to know on Twitter who not to follow or who to block or who to mute, find my tweet where I wrote that, and then all the people that replied, just mute them. You'll have a much better gaming life and a much better gaming discussion online. Then again, they probably want to do that with me because of my troll tweet. Anyway, it's their loss because, they won't be a ConbroPatron like you guys are. I feel like I'd lost track of where I was. I was talking about something. Fuck it, let me just jump into whatever comes into my mind next. There is one part of this that makes me personally worried, and I'm sure it makes a lot of other people worried as well, is that if the game is launching incomplete, it means they didn't have time. I'm not sorry to be like really obvious about this. Obviously, this is what it means. It means they didn't have time to complete the game. They originally obviously intended for all of this to come in one package and to release it like that, but they've decided to delay those last bits in favor of getting the campaign done. That is overall a good thing because you want the campaign to be the best it could possibly be, and whatever you are launching, you want that to be the best thing it could possibly be, right? That's the best thing. But it does speak to how they're willing to put the game out regardless of what's there, what isn't there, and the fact that they feel like this date is absolutely firm. Even with all of the funding of Microsoft, it means that there is a suit somewhere that is saying, no, you have to release this game. I don't care what it's like right now. I don't care what you say. This game has to release right now. And that's kind of troubling to me. There was a post on I'm just going to pull up the link right now on Reddit. It was given to me by Josh Anderson in our conversation, and it's by an alleged 343 employee, a dev. It's a throwaway account, and there's no other postings on it, so we don't know if this person is actually legit. However, I've read through it, and I'll put it in the notes as well of this post, so you guys can see it. I've read through it. And it seems quite genuine. The way they speak sounds like an adult, crucially, because a lot of people who try to write troll messages pretending to be devs or pretending to be reviewers that have early access to something, they're always children, and you can tell from the way that they talk. And this person speaks very intelligently, very authoritatively on certain things regarding development of Halo. And they're talking about why Forge was delayed, why Co-op was delayed, and how it's actually they're actually feeling good about the campaign. overall, it's a positive, but there are some really troubling things in here. I'll leave it in the description for you to read yourself, because it is quite a lengthy post, and I'm not going to read it all out here. I'll read some excerpts from it when I'm talking about certain bits just now, so you can get that. But I urge you all to read the whole thing, because it is really, really insightful, and it's better than... I really hate how, like, some people say, oh, this is delayed. Like, for example, they've said Forge is delayed and Co-op's delayed, be coming later on. See you later. And they've just left the internet to do all the speculation. It's really stupid. Whereas this, speaking so candidly, has put everything into perspective. I understand what's going on, what's happening, why things can't be released, and I feel so much better. I'll read out just a bit here. So people were campaign because there was a bit that I wanted to read. Sorry about this. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so the bit, but now what you care about. First, Forge. He's talking about why everything's delayed. He spoke about the campaign before, but he goes into this. He says, Forge is just unattainable, and Microsoft always knew it wouldn't be released, ready for release. Sorry for my poor reading right at the start, just here. If ever. Let me start that again. How about that? Okay. Because it's gone really bad at the beginning. I want this to sound good. Okay, first, Forge. Forge is just unattainable, and Microsoft always knew it wouldn't be ready for release, if ever. And I doubt that it'll come in 6 months. In reality, the reality is Forge isn't just a cute map editor anymore, not after 5, and we just can't release anything that isn't up to snuff to the quality of the game's Forge, which took more effort than anyone realizes. Infinite's Forge will have not only every feature 5 had, but a lot extra resources based on past games and custom game functionality. There's also some grumbling about Forge being released with the game, spoiling the new enemy reveals, but I doubt that's the main concern. In any case, I wouldn't be surprised if Forge came 8 months or a year after the initial release. The team is overworked, pushed hard, and tired. That's Forge, first of all, which is the map editor, as you guys just heard there. I would expect Forge, from what I know of Forge, because I've watched like old Achievement Hunter videos and how people make maps and stuff like that, I'd expect that to be a big deal. To make, essentially, game deving, because that's what it is, you're making maps, you're making stuff like that. Game deving, user-friendly, as easy as possible, so people can just go plop, 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 and make the best stuff and have a good time, and have everything react correctly to that. I'd imagine that would be a big task. They have been going on for 6 years, which is a long time, but they've had issues along the way that they've tried to rectify. I don't know if I want to give them a pass on it necessarily, because that's still, it's on you, it's not on anyone else. Just going to take a quick sip from a gamer mug right here. So. It's on you, it's not on anyone else to have the game ready. And the fact that the fact that you're delaying this part is a good thing, because we're okay with game delays as long as it comes out working good. Is it a problem that it's not part of the game? For me personally, no. I know, but as we know, there are people out there who do care about it. Now, Forge isn't necessarily the biggest part of this. The co-op campaign, I hear, is quite cool and quite, not crucial, but an integral part of playing Halo games, playing these missions with your friends. And I'm going to read from a little bit of this afterwards, so you can get the idea of what's going wrong with co-op, so you can understand that too. But if the co-op mode comes out, like he says, with Forge, 8 months to a year later, does anyone really care at that point? Does anybody actually give a crap at that point? At that point, it's like, okay, we've experienced the campaign in its fullest way already. We know everything about the game. I played it through like 8 times already. I've noticed every Easter egg. I've done every mission in the most efficient way and all that sort of stuff. There's going to be people that play in co-op because they remember playing Halo co-op. But why? Are you just going to release, you're just going to make this co-op thing work, shove more time and more money into development just so you can have it as a complete package 8 months to a year down the line? I'm not saying shove it in incomplete. That's bad. That's wrong. But the fact that it's not complete in the first place after so long, and it not being with the game is so poor, because it's not going to get used as much as it's supposed to. It's not going to be a feature that everyone revisits. Now, it might be different if the game is fantastic and then people want to go, I want to get back into Halo again, maybe I want to try it again, but still, that's going to be a very few number of people. It's very bad. Let me read out what the dev says here, and he says, for co-op in campaign, the problem is much simpler. To put it bluntly, nobody thought of how it would work. That's so troubling to hear. The open world and several different objectives spread around the map can be completed in any order. Mean that a bunch of solutions were explored of how it would work in 4-player co-op. The first is obvious was shackling players together, but even in internal playtesting, this was shown just not to be fun and considered incredibly limiting. I'm glad as well, because that does sound incredibly limiting. Like, you can't stray too far from your mates and stuff like that. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of open world, right? The idea of free players to go off and do their own stuff was then proposed, which was a great idea and very welcomed, if not for a few key things. First was network, and the second was the most important. And second, and most important, was checkpoints. It's true, because if half the people go through checkpoints and then the squad wipes, then what happens? Do you force those people to come forward if they haven't made it yet? It's a very interesting conundrum. To be blunt, it was buggy. It's buggy as hell and then some. For the first while, Respawn worked. Respawn worked is the same as old games. Wait for teammates to be safe and then come back to life near them. But this caused a lot of painful issues where players were far apart and was really buggy on the code, so we didn't like it. We then explored the respawn stations, but it was too limiting. So then we proposed fixed respawn points around the map, away from fighting locations, but that was both boring. Players had to walk and drive back to the fight, and also made it so it was really hard for the entire team to get wiped, since it'd be constant conga of guys running to the respawn point. That is a very good point. If you're doing a bunch of fighting over here, one person dies and respawns over here, then those people could die, but you're still in the match because you're still one player still trundling along in between trying to get back to the fight. And then by the time they get there, that person spawns. And then it's just a constant conga line of that. So no, you never have a squad wipe. You never have that, which obviously is not the way that the game... That obviously breaks the game. There's no way to lose. Around March, we decided to swing back to the original respawn method, and the bugs have been constant. So... severely littered with bugs, the co-op mode. It's also very... what's also very buggy is the checkpoint setting. It's difficult for 4 players in 4 different locations to decide to have separate fights, to then decide when to set the checkpoint. If we wait until all 4 are safe, that's ridiculous and can lead to long stretches of time with no safe checkpoint. That's true. Someone goes into a fight already, and then by the time you come in there, you're safe, but they're not safe. Exactly. If we set it to one is safe, the checkpoint can be very harsh on other teammates. You could probably see the problem here. The system wasn't that well thought out. The current system we have is that checkpoints are set when one team member, the host, is decisively safe, and everyone else is at least somewhat safe, he says there. Don't know how they're going to decide that. How do you decide if someone's somewhat safe? With a little bit of an invulnerability slack given to other players on respawn. Under the new respawn method, the occasions where all 4 get wiped separately are at least somewhat rare, but we do see issues with this system. So you see, that's very interesting there. They've got problems, and what seems like a problem that can't really be solved, at least with 4-player co-op, and that's down to the open worldness of the game. Do you guys see a solution to this? Because personally, I'm looking at it, and while they're saying they've gone back to the old method of respawning and checkpoints when like the host is going through, I see problems with all of that. Like, again, so someone's gonna get pushed forward to a checkpoint even when they're not at the checkpoint. it's gonna be there's gonna be issues. There's gonna be issues there. I think this is a kind of a flawed game mode, and obviously that's why they haven't released it. Interesting. I'll read the final section here because this is the part that really kind of got to me about maybe the campaign possibly not being up to scratch because of the mentality of everyone going here. It might be, but it might not be. There are some good parts in here in this last paragraph that make me feel confident about it, but then one line that really sticks out. Between these two, campaign co-op is a mess and downright unplayable, but there's no way in hell we're going to be allowed to delay the launch by the powers that be. Delaying the campaign altogether was severely considered with multiplayer only at launch, but the suits told us straight no. The game will ship with a paid campaign, come hell or high water. And we can pay it back over the time. At the very least, I can guarantee that whilst there is some crunch going on so far, it's far from the most inhumane I've ever worked in the industry, and it's a far cry from something like CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk. Morale is high even after this. We think that this game is going to be great, and we do wish we could cook it in the campaign a little longer. That last paragraph right there, even after everything being explained and seeing what the problems are, why they're delaying certain parts of the game, that last part right here, but the suits told us straight no. The game will ship with a paid campaign, come hell or high water. People aren't very confident in 343's ability to make a Halo game as it is. People didn't like Halo 5 as far as I'm aware of, in conversations that I've had with Halo fans, saying that 5, to some people, just straight up doesn't exist. They're like, I don't care, I don't like it. Ever since it's moved away from Bungie, people are like, Halo's gone really far down. Halo's lost the meaning of Halo. And hearing all of this stuff, and especially hearing the stuff like this, the suits told us that the game was shipped with a paid campaign, come hell or high water. It's not good. It's not good language to use when talking about game development. We're talking about creativity. I know that there's a business side to this as well, and I'm always talking about the business side of stuff. But the business will die. The business part of it will die if you don't nail the creative part. Especially, and the thing is that you don't even... Let me take that back. You don't have to necessarily nail something in order to make your money back in business. You can put out a meh product or a just above meh product and you're fine. And they could do that. But Halo, but Xbox, but Microsoft cannot endure this. Cannot endure a meh product or a slightly above meh product. We've been saying since before the Xbox Series X launch, when they said that it was going to be a launch game, we're like, this could turn the tide. This could turn the tide in either direction. When I say either direction, Microsoft's not exactly in the good tide direction, but let's not talk about that right now. If Halo is good, it could bring Xbox back into the fold. People will buy Xboxes for a Halo. People will pay Microsoft good money for a good Halo. Now, this doesn't say that that campaign will be bad. In fact, at one point he says as well, it's like, what does he say? I guarantee there's no crunch going on. We think this is going to be a great game. Obviously, he's an employee and he's a dev. It's obviously something very close to his heart, so he might think that he has a good game, but with millions of people looking at it, it might turn out to be different. But let's say that it's going to be good. However, if you continue to make business decisions like this and suit decisions where you just completely throw aside all the creativity that's in this and how crucial it is for this game to be good, and come hell or high water, you're going to release this game no matter what state it's in, that could destroy a business. That could destroy a business. At least the face of it. I know Microsoft are stupidly rich and they're willing to throw money at every goddamn thing, even if it's not worth it, even if it means them losing lots of money. I mean, Game Pass is hemorrhaging money, but they're still funding it because they really, really want to take away from PlayStation. They really want to put something that they can put their name on in the gaming industry and go, look, we provided this service, this thing that's changed gaming, the way that we consume gaming. I'm surprised that they didn't consider delaying it again. I know that it would have been really embarrassing. There would be endless memes. Oh my god, it's like this launch game, Xbox's launch game, is coming out 2 years later. It would eclipse the Sony memes of like, oh yeah, we believe in generations, then we don't believe in generations. That was pretty stupid in itself. Fucking Sony. But it would eclipse that. It's like this launch game. It's like, how's it go? It's like how it started. Phil Spencer saying we'll launch with Halo. Oh my god, how it's going 2 years later, still no Halo. Even if they didn't delay this game to the point where co-op was put in, which, from what I'm getting, if a co-op was in it, it would have been really, really good. It would have been really, really awesome. But even if they didn't delay it to that point, they delayed it a couple of months to the point where the dev at the beginning said, but I do wish we could cook the campaign a little longer. It's just a little longer, just so you can nail it. Just so you can fucking nail Halo. That would be great. And I don't understand why Microsoft, maybe the 500 million development cost plus whatever extras costs since that rumor, maybe that's finally got to them. Maybe Bill Gates is finally at the top. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing over there? I'm out here trying to inject people with chips, as people in Florida are saying. And you're using all of my money to make a Halo game. What? Get out of here. Give me my goddamn thing. Isn't Bill Gates responsible for everything? The alligators are turning, the frogs are turning gay. That's Bill Gates. Goddamn Bill Gates with his vaccine. That's what that is. I'm getting a little bit off topic right here. By the way, I don't know if I want to. This isn't gaming related, but I'll show you anyway. I got these two cool Funko Pops the other day. Diana Prince in her Justice League outfit. And Desaad. You have to say Desaad in that way, in the way that Steppenwolf says it in the movie. Anyway. That's a weird one, right? Oh, it's really, really bad. And it's interesting that he brings up CDPR and Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk, as we know, was plagued with bugs, and because of the pressure from above, because of the pressure from the suits above, this game came out when it wasn't ready, and it's destroyed Cyberpunk. I play it every now and again, and I've fucking got this chair that I have to look at now every day. For those of you guys don't know, I paid for this with my own money. I'm not one of those stupid influencers that... What's that guy's name? Paris Lily. Those dreamers that got given it and is simping on every company just so he can get free shit like that. I have to look at that. Imagine what it's like for the people at CDPR. There are lead developers that worked on The Witcher that are known as these great quest designers, great developers that have left now because they couldn't stand what happened to Cyberpunk because of the pressure from above. Is that what you want, Microsoft? Is that what you want? And honestly, I have to say, while CDPR's reputation has gone down the toilet, it's really, really bad. I still follow them. I'm still watching everything they do. I'll probably play a game that I mean, for discussion purposes, I'll probably play the next Witcher game, the next Cyberpunk content, stuff like that. But CDPR managed to withstand all of that and is standing still, even though their name means next to nothing, because of how great their other games were. 343, from what I'm hearing, has just managed to mess up Halo since the beginning. If they mess up this Halo, it's the end of the line for them. I can't imagine anyone giving them any sort of second look. It's really bad. That's the only thing. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself with some of this stuff. I don't mind. I don't think that this is going to be a bad Halo. But the thing is that it has to be perfect. It has to be amazing. And that's the thing. You have to hit that high bar. If you don't, it's like jumping for a bar off the edge of a cliff. If you don't grab the bar, you're falling to your death. And that's where I feel like 343 is. And the thing is that with Phil Spencer, you guys know exactly how I feel. Have I mentioned how I feel about him? I don't like the guy. Not because he's the head of Xbox. It's because of the way he talks. He talks like a politician. He's very like... I think Colin Moriarty said this thing where he goes, he's media trained, where someone who talks as if they're talking to the media all the time because they know how to say things exactly right without... So they can be interpreted in multiple different ways and they don't have to give up too information. Like, you know, the whole thing is that this is the best Xbox. It's like, yeah, it's the best Xbox. It's not the best console. That type of thing like that. Phil Spencer is so out there about Halo, about everything that Microsoft is doing. And because all eyes are on Halo now and all eyes are on him, if this messes up, it's not just 343 that gets egg thrown all over their face. It's him as well. To be honest, that's his fault for putting himself out there like that. But I don't want to see people fail. I want to see people do great things. I want to see games come out and be fantastic. And this is where we're at. I'm going to kick it over to some of our boys over on patreon.com/Conbrosations, where you guys are reading right now. I wrote in with a last-minute topic for this Halo discussion. Oh, shit, we've been talking for nearly 40 minutes. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry I've been going on for too long. Maybe this will be a longer episode for you guys. Because we still got other topics to talk about as well. So I wrote, quick edition of a topic. Halo Infinite launched without Cobalt Forge. What's your feelings? Let me know, as you guys might be Halo fans and because I'm not. So we can talk about that. Diogo writes in, and he goes, sounds like to me the game is being released unfinished, and I'm sure Halo fans will be pissed. To me, they're releasing them in seasons, he puts in quotation marks, to make it seem like it was planned, when in fact they just couldn't get it done on time. At least it's going on Game Pass. Am I right or am I right? This is a very good comment. So I do think that's the way they were going to be pitching it. They're going to be like, it's 6 months down the line, 8 months down the line. It's like, Forge is finally here, guys, in Season 8 of Halo. Go nuts, everyone. Have fun. When really it was just that they can't get it to work. If this dev post is to be believed, I bet they didn't I bet they didn't count on a dev whistleblowing. It's good that we got that information, because then we kind of know that maybe they're not being so genuine. And unfortunately, to the people who are blind to corporations for some reason, to those fanboys, they probably would believe anything that Halo says. Like, yeah, this is the way we're supposed to do it. We're going to release it in stages, so more content, so people keep coming back to Halo, blah, 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 blah. When really, this is the reason. Unfortunately. And a little bit where it says, like, at least it's on Game Pass, am I right? That's another angle that we need to explore as well. So while Xbox said that there weren't going to be games that are made for Game Pass, like a Game Pass game, a game that would require for you to come back to Game Pass all the time to keep your subscription active rather than playing a game for 1 month and then ducking out, there's already been games that have been made for Game Pass. Ones that, if any other time, would have released normally and would have got its mediocre, would have got more content in it, would have got something, and it would have been its success right there, that whatever it was self-contained. We now see that there are games made for Game Pass. Bleeding Edge, for example, that was quickly rushed out of the gate, meant to be an online multiplayer game that you can get on Game Pass right now, and nobody cared because it was a bad game. Clearly, that was a game that was meant for Game Pass. Stuff like that. And this is another tactic. It could be. I don't know if it is, because obviously we've got that dev that's come in to say that it just isn't working. So if it just isn't working, that's the reason. But if that guy is lying, then it is a possibility that because of Game Pass, they wanted to stretch it out. Keep people on the service for longer. Yeah. Catspacoral writes in and he says, I agree with Diogo. It seems like they're just trying to hide, not very well, he says in brackets, the fact that it's unfinished. I'm not the biggest Halo fan, to be honest. Only played through the series properly this year, but I know from being on the internet since 2009 and 2010 that the co-op is a huge part of the game. I know Xbox fans... Let me just take a sip because the old whistle is getting a bit dry. I'm just looking back at Master Chef himself. Such a cool character design. I wonder if he has to scratch his balls what he does, because it's like armor down there. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have any balls, you know? Doom guy took it away from him. Anyway, I know Xbox wants to release this game this year and have a huge bang, especially as Sony doesn't usually release any big games in Q4. But if I'd be them, I would just delay it another 2 or 3 months. Give it less multiplayer games. Give it less multiplayer games around it, like Call of Duty and Battlefield. Even though Halo will sell, cough, cough, Game Pass, he's saying sell in quotation marks, because people are going to play this on Game Pass. They're not going to buy it, right? We've seen in previous numbers in terms of Outriders and a bunch of other games. I can't remember off the top of my head. What game is it? It was a Japanese RPG. One of those games. People on Xbox don't really pay for games now that Game Pass is around. Scarlet Nexus as well was one of them. The numbers are showing that developers are even dropping Xbox support because the cost doesn't outweigh the benefits. The cost outweighs the benefits greatly. So if they're not going to have any sales on there, then what's the point? Yeah, that's one thing. So it would make more sense to have nothing around it and give it all the space it needs to breathe and actually come out as a finished game. I highly doubt people will be struggling to choose between Horizon and Halo in, let's say, March 2022. That's the thing. We haven't had the delay for Horizon yet, but we do think it's going to be that way. There was the rumor that hadn't been confirmed, strangely. You think they'd want to get out in front of the stuff, but turns out not. I will say about the delay thing. I mentioned in this week's True Gamer podcast that you don't want to bring out an FPS shooter around other FPS shooters, because Xbox is a platform. They make money off of selling games, even if it's not their games, on their platform. Granted, nowadays it's not looking like they're making much sales anyway, but they're still selling games. And let's say they sell, and I made the rough back of the napkin maths, as Shep says. If they sell 6 million digital copies of Call of Duty Vanguard this year, that's over 100 million in just profit that they get off of the top. If you calculate at 30, everyone buying it always at like $60, and 30% of that going to the platform, Xbox. $100 million. You don't say no to $100 million, especially when you made $500 million go into Halo. You know, you want to recoup the losses. And if you're hemorrhaging money with Game Pass, and you're hemorrhaging money with Halo, and you're hemorrhaging money to put into all these Bethesda studios so you can make games quickly, so you can actually show that Xbox has games. You need to make money from somewhere. And I know some people are going to say, well, like, what about stuff like Xbox Live Gold and whatnot? There's a ton of people on there. There are a ton of people on there. And that's why they wanted to double the cost of Xbox Live Gold, because they knew that they had those people on there and people will pay for Xbox Live Gold, and they wanted to not raise the price of Game Pass because that's struggling to get full paying customers right now, but it's at a good price point. They don't want to mess with that. They wanted to raise the price of something else. Unfortunately, that blew up in their face straight away. The way that they pretended it was like, oh, this was totally not what we're meant to do. We're listening to the fans now. We're listening to the fans, and we're going back on what we said. And just so you guys forget all about this, we're gonna make free-to-play games actually free-to-play. Okay, we're promising we're not gonna charge you for that. Okay, can we forget about it now? Okay, whew. And then they go back. They're like, well, shit. How are we gonna make money then? God damn. And I know Microsoft makes a ton of money and that they can afford to lose all this money for so long. I know. Unfortunately, business doesn't work like that. And eventually they need to make something. They need to make something. I wonder, would I have delayed Halo? It is crowded for FPS games. Halo still has the name Halo that people will flock to. And the multiplayer beta that they did, the test flight that they did, went off amazingly. People loved it. It was amazing. Maybe they think they've got a winner on their hands. Maybe they've got something that they feel like can go up against Warzone, can go up against Battlefield 2042. Maybe they feel confident in that. I personally wouldn't. I personally would give them their 2 months, 3 months to have their flavor, to have their fight, to battle it out themselves, see who comes out on top, let one die out, and then there's only one person you need to compete with. Granted, that does leave the position that you're in. You're going up against a contender that's already won, that's already leading the market. But it's one adversary, and you still have the name of Halo that people want to flock to, and there's no other conversation going around it. I'm going to be in the unique position that I'm going to be able to play Halo this year, thanks to you guys, because of the streaming PC that you guys bought us. I'm going to be able to get it on there, play it on PC, give you guys my thoughts, play with you guys as well, stuff like that. And obviously Battlefield as well. I don't think I'm going to buy a Call of Duty because I'm not too comfortable right now because of the Activision accusations and stuff like that. And to be fair, it's Call of Duty. It's just going to be the same thing again. I've grown out of Call of Duty, to be fair. But maybe I'll get someone in the conversation when we have it about King of the FPSs this 2021 who has played it, something like that. Yeah, I don't know if I would. Maybe I would delay it. Maybe I'll delay it to like early 2022. Yeah, and like Catsper said, and it's not even Catsper says at the beginning. I highly doubt people will struggle to choose between Horizon and Halo in, let's say, early March. Thing is, while the one limiting factor is that people might not have the money to spend on two games, I don't think it's going to be much of a choice. I think they're very different games, and people want them for different reasons. People that are buying Horizon aren't necessarily interested in Halo, and people that are buying Halo aren't necessarily interested in Horizon. And even if they are interested, they might go, I'm looking for a cool narrative story with robot dinosaurs. I'm over here looking for a cool FPS and multiplayer and stuff like that. Those two things can coexist. So maybe the right choice would be to delay it. Just saying. But if it comes out anywhere near Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, yeah, I mean, that's got Superman in it. You can't compete against that shit. There's Master Chief with all of his abilities and his guns and stuff like that. And then there's Superman. Just flicks Master Chief out there. It's like, he just comes along, he's like, so you're Master Chef. not impressed. Oh shit! The Steppenwolf line. He did it, boys. He did it again. That's right. Eddie bringing the sick burns for you there. That's what he would say. Not impressed. Oh boy, I need to watch Justice League again. I might watch it again today. Ah, so great, so great. All right, that it concludes, I think, the Halo discussion. I like that. I like that this lined up quite well because obviously this news wasn't out for the True Gamer podcast and it came out shortly afterwards. I like that I could have done it for the True Gamer Plus episode, so you guys still get this cool discussion. Well, I also get this cool discussion. I get to like voice my opinions and thoughts and stuff like that. And you guys get to talk to me and we get to talk about it together and be current. And we didn't have to wait till next week. I think we'll talk about it a little bit more and get Sheps' opinion on Halo because he is a big Halo fan on the True Game podcast next week. But I like that we had this. It worked out quite well, didn't it? All right. So now let's kick it over back to patreon.com/Conbrosations where a couple of you guys wrote in. I asked for topics at the beginning of the week for this episode. And I'll read from Sean Taylor, hyped for Kenner. He says, why are most post-apocalyptic games like Horizon Zero... let me start again. Why are most post-apocalyptic games set in America, like Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, The Last of Us, etc.? The only two games I can think of that aren't set in America is Dying Light and Metro. Why won't developers set games in other countries? I would love for a British post-apocalyptic game. I know I already posted this on Twitter, but I would like to put it here because we all know how Eddie's an idiot and he'll forget. Do you know what? I'm glad you did that too because I totally forgot that you posted this on Twitter. My memory is worse than a goldfish. It's like sometimes I'm talking to my chick and she's like, babe, do you want to go to get some Nando's or something like that? I'm like, fuck yes, I want to get Nando's. Chicken wings, Eddie, of course. I want that more than puss. Hey. And she goes, oh, you're a disgusting moron. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's true. And I look down at my phone and I'm like, babe, do you want to watch a movie tonight? And she's like, we're going out to Nando's. And I'm like, oh, completely forgot. Even though it's my favorite thing. Anyway. I will tell you exactly why. It's because of the difference. It's because of the vast contrast between where we are now and where society collapses. I'm not trying to be any sort of like classist or third world countryist or whatever the word is going to be. Someone's going to fucking correct me in the chat. No, Eddie, third world countryist. Really, Eddie? Put that with a picture of me while I'm smiling, just like Eddie, third world countryist. America is seen as one of the most advanced countries in the world. I would argue it's something more like Sweden or something like that. They're really super advanced over there. Or Japan even. I think they're really futuristic with all the streets and like the way that properties are built and stuff like that. Tokyo and whatnot. Even... I don't know this for sure because I haven't seen much stuff, but I hear places like Beijing are very like... You guys can let me know. But America is seen, at least in like Hollywood and people's eyes, as one of the most progressed countries out there. As in, they have the technology down. They're living in a first world country. Their toilets are all clean. Everything's all clean and tidy and nice. And then when society collapses, that is wiped out. That is wiped out, and that's what they're trying to convey with it. If you go, and again, I'm not trying to be against anybody here. I'm not trying to be rude to anyone. But if you take a country, in fact, let me use my own country so no one can say shit. If you use Cyprus, for example, Cyprus is a beautiful place, but it's naturally beautiful. It's sun, it's sea, it's palm trees, stuff like that. It's naturally beautiful. But the houses out there, the water is being pumped from another country to get clean water because there's not really rain there and they can't build dams and stuff like that like we do in the UK and things like that. The way that they heat up water is via a massive naturally heated solar panel type thing. It's not a solar panel, it doesn't convert into electricity, but it's like pipes run through this this panel and it heats up using the sun and then it's stored later in a hot water tank. and it's given that way. Most houses are bungalows. They don't have really two floors. Everything's clean and whatnot, but naturally as well, you have dust everywhere because when you have a hot country, it's full of dust and sand and stuff like that. That's just the way it is, and wind blows and it blows into the house. It seems to anyone who's coming from like England or America, you go to Cyprus, it seems like, this is in the villages, by the way, where like my family's from. It seems like you've gone back a couple hundred years. It seems like while you do have electricity, while you do have standard TVs and things like that, you're not going to be getting 4K. You're not going to be getting the fastest internet. Even your mobile phone signals and stuff like that, they're good, but you're not getting, they're light years away from 4G out there. They're very much 3G. They're very much good enough internet. They don't have landline internet out there. Everything's mobile internet plugged into a router at home. That's how like behind the times they are. It functions, it's fine. Every time I go out there, I'm happy. I'm on holiday and stuff like that. I'm relaxing. But if you was to take a place like Cyprus, who is maybe in the UK equivalent, it would be 1950s, 1960s, something like that. If you take that and drop them back to the 1900s, it's not that much of a stark difference. Whereas if you drop a 2021 city, a metropolis of cities, and then completely take out all of their power, take out all of their internet, the water, the gas lines, and then everything's just overgrown with foliage and stuff like that, it seems like, whoa, society collapsed. This is post-apocalyptic. Especially with Metro. I think Metro's set in Russia, right? Is that right? I'm not 100% on that. I think it is, based on what I've seen. Russia, they do a good job in that one, but to be honest, when I think of Russia, I don't think very progressed anyway. I think they do it. What makes Metro so cool and post-apocalyptic is the radiation side of it, and how like everything seems to be like this wasteland because everything can't grow there, nothing can live. That's what makes it post-apocalyptic, not necessarily that society's collapsed there. But then again, when I think of Russia, that's what I think anyway. So, sorry to the Russian patrons right there. And I think Dying Light, is that in like Brazil with the favelas and whatnot? I'm not 100% sure on that, but I see that as well. Thank you for writing in, Sean. Thank you very much for writing in there. Our sexy producer, who helps us out so much on the show. You guys, he sends me stories all the time. It's great. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. If any of you guys want to send me stories as well, feel free. I'm happy to talk about it. Diogo writes in, he goes, "Hi, Eddie. Hope things are going good." It's going terribly, but don't worry about it. With the GTA remasters announced and possibly for RDR1 remaster remake, let's be honest, it will happen because it will sell well. To be honest, I'm expecting it to happen as well. They've already made part of the map as well. Isn't the whole like lower part of Red Dead Redemption 2 from RDR1? They could just move that over and then just rebuild the rest and do the rest of it. This is perfect set. Perfect. All the legwork's already been done. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this? And are there other Rockstar games you'd like to see remastered? Bro, I'll say this before it gets on to the next one. The GTA remasters Vice City, we spoke about this on the podcast. Vice City remaster be so fucking good, and San Andreas, it'll be so good. But the remaster that everybody fucking wants, all of you guys, I swear to God, we need to start a petition. We'd start tweeting at them every single fucking day. If they don't bring a bully remaster out, Rockstar, you fucking shit the bed, okay? You've sold endless amount of copies of GTA 5. You've fucking pushed GTA Online down people's throats. We can't think about GTA without thinking GTA Online. Give us a fucking bully remake, okay? Give it to us. Remaster, I should say. Fuck's sake. On another point, where do you stand on remasters or remakes? Every time one gets announced, you see people complain about how the industry just churns these out, and have no original ideas despite having them. because there are original ideas all the time, yet remasters sell like crazy because of nostalgia and the fact that original games aren't available on current platforms. My viewpoint, let me read out his viewpoint. For me, it depends on the quality of the improvements, but it's a good way for myself and others to experience older games in a more accessible way. In an accessible way. The one thing I'm not for is remastering PS4 and Xbox One era games, since those are backwards compatible. Cheers, and also gaming or something, he says. Thank you very much. I'm very much in the same boat as you, because as you guys know, I've mentioned before, I'm not a huge fan of playing older games. When I say older, I mean, and when I say I'm not a fan of them, I don't mean I don't like the stories that they tell. I find it very hard to get invested and very hooked on a game that looks old. Not that I need something to look good, it's just that it helps me enjoy myself more. And like it or not, older games tend to have lull moments, because now we're in the golden age of gaming, because story writing is amazing right now. And back then, while we do have good stories, there are moments where it lulls and then comes back up, and those lull moments are even more painful when you don't have even something good to look at. That's my personal feeling on them. In regards to remasters and remakes, I love them. I absolutely love them. Bring out as many as you like. Let the market dictate whether or not it's good. Bring them out. People that are making noise, it's not like they have to buy them. It's not like, I mean, granted, I get the idea that they're saying, it's taking resources away from what could be a brand new thing. All right, but the new thing isn't guaranteed to be a hit, whereas this thing was sold before and it was a hit. Maybe it's got a new take on it, a new improvement, like you're saying. If the improvement is like that, it looks beautiful, or that they adjusted the button layout or the way that it controlled, because it controlled badly back in the day before we knew that this was the standard. Hell, go for it, man. Go for it. I will say, I'm playing. I shouldn't. I don't think I have the right to say that anymore. I was going to say I'm playing Mass Effect again, for the first time. And one thing that I don't like about Mass Effect is actually the way that you execute the abilities. Sheps really hounded me. He's like, you have to use the abilities. You have to use. Why aren't you using the abilities? And I told him after a bit of time. I told him straight. I was like, it's because it's not good to use. It's really not intuitive. The abilities are cool and whatnot, but they're not laid out in a good way for you to hit the button and for you to select what character to use what ability. They're not explained very well. And when they're executed, they're not very they're not visually impressive, and you're not really 100% sure on what's happening. It's very clunky, and I can tell it's of its time. That's why I've never slayed the game, because it's of its time. It probably was good. It probably was really progressive back then, but we've moved on, and for example, when you do in God of War, when you do some of the runic abilities, when you have to hit a button combo, and then he lays down one of his chains, lays down another one, pulls it out of the ground, lava splutes out, and you see this massive damage here on the Valkyrie Queen or something like that. Cool. And when you use the triangle button to make Atreus, if you hold it down, he uses one of his the lightning wolves to come out or something like that, or whatever the ability you've chosen. Cool looking as well, and you get that instant feedback as well of what's happening. I don't get that feeling when I play Mass Effect, and it does take me out of it a little bit. I'm like, that's my thing there. And if they made improvements, if they suddenly made it more, I don't know, better feeling or better visually stimulating or something like that, I think it would be better. But even then, as I said before, I'm not going to say don't make the Mass Effect collection. On top of it being stupid, because I'm sure there's a lot more to the stories and games that I haven't witnessed yet, outside of that one gripe that I have, it'd be stupid for me to say it in the first place. It's like, who says don't make this whole collection because that one feature is crap? Because I could just not play it. And let other people who do want to play it. Those people are all just stupid, and also they're the vocal minority as well. The people who want this stuff are going to be like, hey, I'll play it, and that's it. That's that done. The positive people always get drowned out by the negative people in a lot of circumstances. Not all the time, but in a lot of circumstances. Thank you very much for writing in there, Diogo. You're a legend. And we've got Catsper Coral, who writes in. He says, "Hey, gamer. We both know the rumors of Call of Duty Vanguard being announced at the State of Play," which didn't turn out to be true. This was just before that got announced. So we'll read it anyway, and we'll see what happens. This was the rumor prior anyway. That was meant to happen in August. As many rumors from credible sources were going around. As we discussed on let me read that all again. "We both know about the rumors of Call of Duty Vanguard being announced at the State of Play that was meant to happen in August, as many of the rumors from credible sources were going around. As was discussed on Sacred Symbols," which is Colin Moriarty's podcast, "but now we're halfway through August and the rumors have died down. No talk whatsoever of Sony's conference or even a State of Play, which is getting to me, man. When are we going to get to see anything from PlayStation? Come the fuck on. The last few days have been a bunch of Vanguard stuff leaked, and it looks hilarious because the characters and the DLC gun looks like they're from the Order 1886 and not World War II. That's something people have been saying, that it doesn't look very accurate. But then again, when has Call of Duty ever been fucking accurate? Okay, let's just shut the fuck up." You're talking about jumping in the air sideways and then drop shotting while shooting a fully automatic gun. This is Call of Duty. Fuck off. And today, as of Monday, the 16th of August, Video Games Chronicle, a great UK-based website, I believe, breaks a lot of the stories with the industry and wrote and pointed out as well, Vanguard is being advertised on the main page of PlayStation Store or on PS5, stating that the announcement will be coming on the 19th in Warzone, and that is what happened. There was a big event in Warzone, a live event, and Vanguard got announced that way. So finally, to cut to the actual topic, is there going to be a State of Play at all? It was delayed due to COD. That's what the rumor was beginning from the 12th. They said Call of Duty wasn't ready to announce, and they were delaying it because Call of Duty was going to be at the State of Play, but turns out to not be the case. But also the allegations for Activision came out as well, and I don't know, do you think maybe PlayStation said we can't really be seen next to you at the moment, even if we are partners? It'd be I don't want to be the one that decides that, but they're in business together, but then there's all these allegations, and Call of Duty's still going to probably sell millions, so how do you turn that business away? It's very, very dicey. I don't want to make that decision. Many believed due to Abandoned as well. Again, people thought that was the reason why it was delayed. Well, now we got the teaser for Abandoned and soon a trailer. As the director said, he's hoping for Gamescom, but it's not 100% sure yet. For those unaware, he did an interview with NME, but the boys will talk about on the True Game podcast. We did a big old discussion about that. So technically, there's nothing holding Sony back anymore. But there have been no rumors in the last week of any State of Play or show whatsoever. We're getting Gamescom opening night live next week, which I'll be doing a live stream for as well, so check that out. And an Xbox show too, again, another stream of that, so check it out. So is there space for Sony next week? Or will they be slightly swamped if they don't show... Or will they be slightly swarmed up if they don't show anything valuable? That's a very good point. Or should they wait until later in the year, possibly December? He says, I think if they're going to do a show this month, it'll either happen this Thursday or the week after Gamescom. We know they can announce a State of Play 2 days prior or so. So I can easily see them announcing it on Tuesday and having it on Thursday. However, they're still partnered with Call of Duty and Activision. Will there just be a trailer for Vanguard and Warzone, and stay tuned for gameplay for that? At the State of Play in 2 weeks, that will make sense, I think. So yeah, I think I know it's pretty. So yeah, that's it. I know it was pretty short. This was not a short comment, but don't worry, this is True Gamer Plus. It's fine. You can write as long as you want. Long question short. Sony State of Play, soon or no? Leaning to no from what we're seeing, but it depends on Call of Duty shows. Catsbar, thank you very much. Thank you very much for writing in. And yes, it does look like an essay. I have absolutely no idea. I would have thought that it would have been early August, and if they were going to delay it for Call of Duty after all this stuff, I thought it would have been late August. But really, I don't think they're the kind of people to go up after. Actually, Sony could go up anytime. If they have something to show, it would be good. But do they have anything to show? I think right now the only thing that they have is Horizon Forbidden West, and that has a delay coming, we feel. They could easily go after everyone after Gamescom and steal the show, but if they have something to show. It's been a long time since we heard from Sony. I think we need to hear from them soon. Shit. September is what I'm thinking. It'll be far enough away from all of the Call of Duty announcement, far enough away from Gamescom. People will be pissed that Xbox comes out and does a whole like hour and a half show and shows off updates of all these games that they've announced with just CG trailers and things like that, and PlayStation haven't announced anything. But when they do, if they can show something better than just God of War Ragnarok is coming, it will all be forgiven, because end of the day we just want to see good games. I'm saying September. We'll do early September. That's what I think. And then one final thing, and I want everyone to just go at him. Juice, you deserve this. I'm sorry. He says, Sheps' crusty nut writes in. He says, The Last of Us 2 is terrible writing. Is a terribly written game with horrible pacing. This motherfucker. The pacing bit, I kind of agree with you, right? But no, horrible writing. It had beautiful writing. This game was fantastic. You are going to gamer jail. You can't say things like that without going to gamer jail there. Motherfucker. Guys, that's another episode of the True Gamer Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in for another episode 3. Feel free to tell all your friends and girls and your girlfriends about the True Gamer Plus podcast, show, I should say. I kind of want to refrain from calling it a podcast because I guess it's more of a show between us, but who cares about terminology? Tell everyone about it. Hopefully you feel like it's worth it. Hopefully we have a worthwhile discussion here and is worth your $1 a month. I do want to thank the True Gamers, as I've decided I'm going to thank the True Gamers at the end of every True Gamer Plus and the Super Bros at the beginning. From now on, still be the same format for the podcast, the True Game Podcast, but this one we're going to thank this. I do want to thank all of our True Gamers over here on the Conbrosations Patreon. Thank you all for being so awesome. Those people are Jeremy Horde, Sheps' Crusty Right Nut, Cats Bacoral, Isak Manny, Real Kermit Cinema, Record Friction, Adam the Chrissy Simp, Kevin Crow, Super Whale Ben, Joe McCormack, GC Nightwalker, Diogo, You Absolute Thithering Thothage, aka Zacchino, Kanye, please fucking release Donna, sincerely Ashton, Eddie Fix Your Fence, Fishy, The Jackal, Max H, Cobra SS, Albiscory, and Jack Nicholas. Thank you all guys for being so awesome, for keeping the lights and mics on, and all the gaming going here at Conbrosations. Thank you so much. And thank you to all of our new patrons as well who have joined us. You're all really awesome, and I love each and every one of you. Alright guys, I'm going to get out of here. It's Sunday. I'm recording this on the day that it's going to be released, so I'm going to go spend some time with the family. Hope you guys all enjoy this. Let me know if you have any problems with the audio feeds or whatever. Keep me hot on my heels, and I look forward to reading all of your comments as well. I have my phone by me, so all of your comments that you put on the post, I'll be able to see straight away. Thank you guys so much. Love you all. Love you and leave you, and yeah. Goodbye, boys. Goodbye. I'm going to play Ghost of Tsushima. Oh shit, I forgot the Iki Island DLC. I'm already into it and it's already good. More Mythic Quest was all I needed and they gave it to me. Suck a dick. Big old dick. Dick. See you later, boys.